And I'm here from the start of the opening of the reserve till now.
How many years has Kogelberg been open for?
90. It's in the 90s.
In the 90s?
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yes.
Have you seen a lot of changes here at Kogelberg since you started?
Yes, a lot of changes. There was houses for the employees, where the cabins is now. This is all changed. And the office is also changed because the office was down there, an old house, farmer's house. Yeah.
Couple of changes.
Yes.
And yourself, your background, are there many female rangers at Cape Nature?
Yeah, I don't know about the other reserves, but I'm the only lady now here at Kogelberg as a lady field ranger. And I've started in 2015 at Kogelberg, but I've been with Cape Nature from 2008, where I did my NRG at Nature College, and then I've been with Cape Nature as an intern, 1 year at the Mont, 1 year at Walker Bay, and then I've started getting a job as a conservation assistant for 2 years. It was a contract base, and then I've been applying for field ranger, so I got a permanent position at Kogelberg. So I'm here at Kogelberg for 3 years now.
And what made you want to get into this field of work?
I just love the outside world, and it's a variety of things we do. It's not just sitting in the office, you know. And our main focus is to conserve biodiversity, and biodiversity is broad. It's on your fauna, flora, your mammals, your birds. It speaks to a lot of things.
And this is a very sensitive area. What sort of biodiversity do you get? Very different types of species?
Yeah, there's a lot of different type of species, especially the Mars rose. That's what I all speak about, the Mars rose. We have to protect it.
Yeah, and also the endemic bird species that we find, like the Cape sugarbird and the orange-breasted sunbird. So we do have special species that people want to see. And our job as field rangers is to ensure that we conserve that, you know, by putting a lot of things in place, like we do our law enforcement patrols to see that people don't like pick flowers or put out snares. So we do our visible patrols to ensure that people don't do that. We put our compliance signages in place. There's also a way for communication with the local communities, you know. And then when we do find people in field, we try to educate them and tell them that this is a special site and what we do.
Is poaching a problem at Cape Nature or at Kogelberg?
Yes, but we manage it in a way. But they are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they, especially at the highlands side. It's more the northern side of Oudtshoorn, where they busy flower picking, and the other thing is cyclists, motorcyclists. They enter reserve without permission.
Yeah.
And that's where the compliant signs come in the law enforcement patrols to keep them out of the reserve.
This is a very big area. How do you manage to patrol such a large area?
That's a really big area, but most of the areas you can go there with vehicles. Then it makes it more accessible for us.
Yeah, and Kogelberg is a complex. We do have the MPA at Stony Point. So there is marine rangers. So they manage to focus more on the marine side of things. And then we here is terrestrial, we do our mountain catchment. So we try to manage by dividing us into groups and do our patrols, especially on weekends, to ensure that not only in work time, because then people will see the pattern and then, you know, do the thing on the weekends.
And in terms of leopard conservation, are we seeing greater numbers of leopards in the area?
As only photos. Only about this.
Yeah, and
In
then
the tracks,
Yeah.
you see the tracks in
the
the,
scat.
the droppings.
Yeah, because sometimes when we're out in the field, we do our set of biodiversity data by seeing, we take a GPS point of tracks we saw, droppings we saw, and that's how we know that the species are in the area. Because most of them are nocturnal, so they're active at night. We don't see them so much during daytime.
And what sort of technology do you use to help you in your job?
We have our binoculars, because at some places we don't have reception. So we have radio communication, GPS, binoculars. That's how we communicate.
Camera.
Camera.
I suppose you've got cameras all over the... And what sort of animals have been picked up in your cameras?
Blackbirds,
Honey badgers,
cape crawlers, otters,
duiker,
klapspringers, grasbokkies. It's more
grey
the
reebaks,
small animals.
and also porcupine we do see.
And are there challenges as a woman in this job, or those walls coming down?
In the beginning there is challenges, but for me personally, the biggest challenge that I had was driving with a 4x4 off-road, you know. But they've sent me on training, and I'm getting the practicing to do that. So that was actually one of my biggest challenges that I had, driving off-road with a 4x4.
Absolutely. And for you, many years in the business, what's the most satisfying part of your job?
The most satisfying is to conserve. And the other thing is to go out on fires, world fires. I love to do that.
Fires is quite a thing in this area. Are you seeing more and more fires in recent years?
Yes.
The fire did increase over years, especially with the water problem that we do have now, and global warming. All that influence that we have do have an impact on we get fragrant fires now.
Are you seeing changes in the biodiversity as a result?
At some places we do.
Yeah, especially from the weather side. I see it.
Because as we do our Protea plotting, we do that over a period of maybe 10 years, you know. But we start by doing each year our monitoring on Protea plots. So we see how many flowers is there each year. So you can already see that there's a change in the flower in each year, which means the weather do have an impact on that.
And I was here many years ago. The Palmiet seems narrower and less flows. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Can guys still kayak down, or is it more difficult now?
It's difficult now because you can actually walk from here to that side of the mountain, and in the past you couldn't do that because the river was quite big.
Yeah.
But now...
But I only do kayak more July to August.
Yeah.
When the water flow is coming down.
And is there a dam that controls the water flow down, or is it a natural flow?
That is a natural flow, but more to the Grabouw side. There's a few dams on the river. And I think the one is the Kogelberg down there, close to Rockview. I think from there on they control the water flow downwards.
Yeah.
But when you're going up to Dwasrivier, you get the Lows River and the Swanepoel River. They are running on its own.
It's natural.
Natural.
And in terms of fish species, yeah, did you get a lot of diversity there as well?
Not really.
Not really.
And do you get a lot of satisfaction passing the knowledge on to the youngsters and see them taking care of nature better?
Yeah, we do, especially with this new programs that came into Cape Nature, the EPWP. So we do have a lot of youngsters and we try to educate them, so just to have that conservation ethic. And I think that's a way to transfer the information within the communities.
And so other young women wanting to get into being a ranger, what's the best advice you can give them?
Yeah, I think it all starts within. If you have that passion for what you do and the love, and you see why we do it, it's the knowledge of conservation that actually trigger people to go in conservation.
Absolutely. And the future for you, sir? How many more years in the ranger game?
Next 6 years. Another 6 years.
And the highlight, your fondest memory as a ranger?
Oh, my highlights is a lot. There's a lot. Especially fires, patrols, and what else? In working with communities, is the program NRM, Natural Resources Management, to work with them on the island side, to remove the island and stuff like that. That's highlights for me.
And the mountain biking, do you allow that in the reserve?
Yeah, but only on the route, cheap tracks.
Yeah. And there is signage to educate people not to go off tracks.
And have you seen a big rise in numbers of mountain bikers coming through?
A while back it was a lot, but it's coming down a bit because of the road. And the road is fixed now, and we will see it will pick up again.
And the new units, I see that they were made sort of quite environmentally friendly. What was the sort of thought behind that?
It's just we don't want to make too much changes within the environment. We want to keep it as natural as is, because our main focus is to conserve biodiversity. So we don't want to get the impression that we conserve nature but we're still destroying on the other end. That's why we do that.
And in terms of off-grid, do you have solar power here and that kind of thing?
No.
And any plans for the future? Any exciting things we should look forward to at Kogelberg?
Our phase 2 of our eco cabins is starting, hopefully this year.
Okay, and what's that going to entail? More cabins?
More cabins.
So more visitors will come and we can inform more people about conservation and what we do and why we do it.
But hopefully it doesn't become too big.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.